Hey y'all, welcome back to my kitchen. I know this looks like a lot, and it might be a lot, but there's a reason for it. Today, we are making fast and easy, delicious vegetarian Vietnamese pho. Easy vegetarian pho. Now you guys, I love me some pho. It's really one of my favorite things. The issue, I know I tell you that all the time, like everything's my favorite. I wouldn't make it for you guys if it wasn't really something I loved. The thing about pho is the broth is incredibly labor intensive. So what I'm gonna teach you guys today is kind of a cheat. It's an easy version that will take you much less time. Now, before we dive into these ingredients and a little bit more of how I'm gonna make this fast and easy for you, let's head to Vietnam where we made pho with Jimmy's cousin Troy from Japan.
We're buying the ingredients here in the market and we're gonna make some pho. The water's boiling. Traditionally, they have a bunch of different spices and broth that they probably cooked overnight. But in this case, we're doing the speedy route and using bouillon cubes designed just for pho. There's beef, there's chicken, there's pork. We opted for, I think this is beef, right?
Yeah.
Buh. It's carrot peeling time. You know what? It's a nice day. I'm gonna go outside and chop these things. I have never chopped vegetables in such a pretty place, such a pretty view. These guys keep coming closer and closer, and this guy won't shut up.
Well, alright. We'll put it in two.
How many cubes?
Yeah.
More flavor, that's okay.
Onions.
Now I'm gonna take the stems off these mushrooms.
Oh yes, can't forget chilies.
What?
A few words I
Two words, yeah.
Alright. Yeah, these are rice noodles. But I love it. You can see how they're inconsistently cut. I mean, it's not, they weren't industrially produced.
Yeah, some lady did it in her
Right.
backyard.
Drop that in there, and I'm hoping they're gonna break apart.
But that broth smells amazing.
Yeah, it
it's
smells
so
really,
fragrant. I mean,
really
just the cube. I mean,
Yeah.
it smells almost the same. It's crazy.
Mine has been out back in the bedroom working.
I feel weird being the one back in the back that's working. I'm usually the one cooking. This is kind of nice. These fancy noodles that got made yesterday. How did you learn how to make this? It smells delicious. I smelled it in the back. I would.
Troy plated our pho. Now we're waiting on the broth. But yeah, so this isn't traditional pho, but I think you can make it your own. I mean, whatever you have around, and that's what you make.
Yeah.
The difference with making pho when we were in Hoi An and making pho now is that we don't have access to necessarily all the same things. I was able to get my hands on a good bit, but we're gonna make some tweaks today to make it much easier for you. Now, I've already started 8 cups of water boiling, and all the recipe specifics will be down below for you guys in the description box. So if I don't tell you measurements, you can get it there. So we're waiting on our water to boil. Our major number 1 cheat for this are these. I know you guys are gonna judge me, but let's be super honest, okay? I like the vegetarian version of pho. You can make beef pho, you can make chicken pho, but I like this with tofu. So I do the vegetarian version. Now, if you made your own broth, you'd either spend 2 days to do it traditionally, or you'd spend 2 hours to really dive into it. I know a lot of us these days may not have the energy to pour into that. We have the time, but do we have the energy? So this is the easy thing to do. Now in this box, you got these cubes. It's just like bouillon cubes that you use for chicken or beef. It's really the same thing, but it's pho base. So your seasonings and everything that's in here is much, much different than a regular bouillon cube. That's why it's not interchangeable. It needs to say pho on the box. When I make pho, I make a lot of pho. So I use all of these because I like it reheated. It just, when I make it, I go in. So I'm using enough water to make all 4 of these. We make a whole lot in our house. Plus it's just good for the immune system. It's kind of, to me, an Asian equivalent to chicken noodle soup. It's just as nourishing. So let's go over some of the other ingredients you're gonna need in addition to your pho base cubes. Now you're gonna want some ginger. You can use the fresh ginger. When I went to the grocery store, it looked really dry and kind of gross. So I'm choosing to cheat yet again and use the squeeze one. But if you can get the fresh ginger, I prefer that. I didn't want to compromise with nasty ginger. Fish sauce. Now this is where you're gonna get your salt and a little sour with your base. So yes, it seems like we're cheating by using these cubes, but you're also gonna really add some aromatics and some deliciousness to this to really amp it up where nobody would ever know you cheated. We got a whole onion here. We've cut them sort of thin, see, because you want them to get soft and delicious and really flavor your broth, in addition to boatloads of garlic. That's what you need, ginger, garlic, and onion. It's gonna make it so, 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 so good. Now the protein we're using is actually fried tofu. You can buy this at the Asian market. You get them in like the little bags like this, or you can get them in boxes sort of like this. These are huge pieces, but for pho, I kind of like the little babies. I have 2 bags of these in case this one's not enough, but I'll show you how to incorporate those in a moment. Now let's talk about the noodles. Water's taking a little while to boil, so I'm gonna throw a lid on, see if we can't speed her up a bit. Now let's talk noodles. You need rice noodles. You can use vermicelli noodles if you want to. These are actually rice sticks, which are traditionally used in pad thai, but I like a thicker, sort of meatier noodle. And in the footage that we showed you guys from when we were in Vietnam making this, it's a thicker noodle that we used. They were fresh and epically delicious, but that's a little harder to find in the States. So these are really, really great. So while we're waiting on our water, we're going to prepare our noodles. Making really great noodles to go with a dish like this is really a 2-step process. First step, I'm gonna take a big bowl like this and I'm going to fill this with hot tap water, and then I'm going to place my noodles into it. All right, now I have filled this with hot tap water, and when I say hot, I mean it's smoking and you really can't touch it. So let's take our noodles, these up here. I'm using an entire 14-ounce bag of these noodles, and I'm just gonna take them out and I'm gonna put them in my water. Try to kind of press them down there. Now you're gonna leave these for probably 10 to 15 minutes. And this is not cooking them. You're not trying to cook them by doing this. All you are doing is softening them up because obviously they're dried. So we're just gonna press them down in there. We're gonna set them off to the side, and then I'll show you how we cook them later. One really important thing to know about pho is it's all about the toppings. So I know this seems like a lot of steps, but it'll make perfect sense when we go to build the perfect bowl of pho here in just a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and cut up our fried tofu. Now, something I want you guys to know, don't feel bad if you don't have an Asian market near you or you can't find these. You can fry your own tofu. Just get some extra firm tofu and you coat it with a little bit of flour and some cornstarch, and then you deep fry it until it's golden brown like this. If that's something you guys want, I can do a video of just how to fry your own tofu. It's really simple. You'll be shocked when you see how easy it is, but honestly, I wanted to make this as easy as possible. That's why I bought mine. So I'm gonna pull all my pieces out here, and I'm just gonna cut them in smaller cubes. Now when you cut it in half, it kind of has this sort of, you can tell that's tofu to it. Now, this is a pretty good size, I think, but I may go ahead and cut these in 4s just because everybody else that's gonna eat this may not want big, chunky chunks of tofu. Much like this, this is a pretty good size. Now, don't worry about tofu dissolving or going away as you put this in, because we're not gonna put this directly into our broth. This is gonna be something that goes in our bowl that we put our broth over. So it's gonna heat it up, it's gonna be delicious, and you don't have to worry about it getting too mushy. Our water's boiling, we're ready to start putting our cubes in. Now, this is vegetarian, specifically there's no meat in here. Now, they do have a chicken, which is pronounced ga in Vietnamese. They also have a beef, which is bo. And then obviously I'm speaking very lazy Vietnamese because it's a tonal language, but pho is typically pronounced pho. So you kind of go up with your inflection. I obviously am not fluent in Vietnamese, but I sure tried while we were there, but I didn't want anybody to be mad at me for not making the appropriate effort. So, all right, now we're gonna put our vegetarian cubes in here. Now this is what they look like. You know right away when you open this, they are not bouillon cubes. You smell the cinnamon, you smell star anise, cloves. It's definitely a different flavor. So we're gonna drop these in here. All 4. So we're gonna let this kind of heat back up, and then we're gonna stir it as those dissolve, and then we're gonna start adding our goodness. All right, now our cubes are good and dissolved, and we are ready for, as I call, the goodness. That's all the aromatics and all the yumminess. Now we're gonna start with our onions, so let's just take our entire onion and we're gonna toss her in here. Like I said earlier, they're just sliced thin. Try to break them up. You drop them in there. It's important to keep your broth boiling. So we're gonna add our garlic next. My spoon. Add all of our garlic here. This feels like a lot, I know. Don't freak out on me. Trust me, it's gonna be delicious. Now, one thing I did realize when I mentioned this was vegetarian is I am using fish sauce. Not technically vegetarian, more pescatarian, but if you want to substitute that with just some salt, you'll have the same sort of effect. Soy sauce gives you a different flavor, so I wouldn't suggest that. But we're gonna dump all of our fish sauce in here. Love fish sauce, love the flavor of it that it adds. And when you add it with everything else, it's just sort of part of the symphony. It's not gonna taste fishy. It's not gonna, it's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be really delicious. All right, last thing we're gonna add here is our ginger. We're a ginger family, so I add a lot of ginger. This is gonna seem like a whole lot, but around here, we're a ginger family. We eat that pickled ginger just with chopsticks, so we like lots of ginger. Now we're gonna let this rise back to a boil, and then we got next steps. Now we're gonna move this over to the side, and we're just gonna let her do her thing. And I'm gonna start preparing all the toppings. Now this is the really fun part about a good bowl of pho, is all the stuff you can put on top. Now in front of me, I've got all of the start of some of the toppings that you can put. Now I've rinsed some bean sprouts and I've put them in my trusty little bowl here. I love, love, love bean sprouts, and it is a staple must-have in a bowl of pho. Now we're doing really great over here. I'm gonna turn my heat down just a little bit. I just tasted it and it's good. Don't freak out though when you use that fish sauce, because it's so aromatic that you're gonna smell it and you're gonna feel like, oh my God, I'm boiling fish. You're not. When you go to taste it, you just get straight umami goodness, so don't worry. We're gonna take some green onions here and we're going to do about 3. These are an excellent topper for pho. Cut off the ends. We're just gonna chop these small because they're just gonna be fun to put on top. So let's just make little as they roll all over my board. You're probably wondering what all the green stuff in front of me is for. Now, if you go eat pho at a restaurant, they bring you all this green and it's very overwhelming what all the green is for. It's the same way if you eat it in the US or if you eat it like that in Vietnam. There's loads of green with it. So I wanted to make sure I was able to show you exactly what they give you. Now that's really all the chopping that we're going to need to do. I'm just gonna lay out the greenery on the board here so you can see what it is, what it's used for, and all that good stuff. All right guys, now let's talk about all the green. Now let me show you what that is. Here I have Thai basil. This, oh, you guys, the smell of it, it's my favorite thing ever. So this goes in so much good stuff. It's not terribly bitter. It gives you that really delicious, it's a little spicier, I'd say, than regular basil. Here I have bitter mint. Now I love this because it's purple on the back. It's just so beautiful, but it's a lot more bitter than regular mint, which is what I have here. It adds a little bit of that same flavor, but it kind of counteracts any sweetness. Now I didn't add sugar, and there's a reason for that. I'll tell you that in a moment. But the other green that we have here is cilantro. So these are kind of your 4 yummy greens that you can add directly to your bowl. Now, as you can see, I've loaded up on more toppings. Now, one fantastic must-have topping, I think, for pho is a garlic, like pickled garlic. One of the first places we ever ate pho had this on the table, and we were like, what is that? And it is just the most magical. I made this myself, so if you guys want a recipe for this, I can give it to you. It is so good. You've got to put that in there. Plus it adds more of that garlic, and then it's in rice vinegar, so you add some more sour, so you really build that level of flavor. The other things I brought out here are the Chinsu chili sauce. You need this. It's hot and sweet. That's why I didn't add sugar. So good. But if you want to hit a sweet, you got to add hoisin sauce. Now, hoisin sauce, the pickled garlic, and Chinsu, or another Vietnamese type chili sauce, was always on a table when you went to eat pho. So these are must-haves. We're gonna turn our heat off over here. We're gonna dump our noodles and get ready to cook them, and then we get to start building. All right guys, so because this is our fast pho, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take our noodles and we're gonna dump them in here. This is hot enough to where it's gonna cook them because they're already really good and soft. So you can kill your heat. We're gonna put our noodles in. We like noodles around here too. There you go. All right, so we are ready to build a bowl. Let's build our bowls. So we're gonna take our tongs and just get a pretty good portion of our noodles here. We're gonna put these in our bowl. And then I'm gonna take some of this fried tofu that we cut up earlier. I'm just gonna put it right over the top here, just a good handful. And then we're gonna put our broth all over the top of that. Make sure you cover your tofu really good. That'll warm it up, it's been sitting out. Truth be told, guys, I probably have too many noodles in here. I got a little excited and I put all the noodles in, and I probably shouldn't have. But we've got our bowl here with our soup. Now we're gonna start putting toppings on. Now this is where it's completely and totally your preference, what you want and what you like. I love some bean sprouts, so I'm gonna put these on top. Just like that. I'm gonna do some onions. Just all over the top like that. I personally, I like the bitter mint, so I'm just gonna take a couple of little sprigs here. I'm just gonna tear them up like this. And then some cilantro. Like that. That in there. Do some Thai basil. Put that there. And then we're gonna do some regular mint. Right there. So we're gonna do our greens. Now, this, guys, the pickled garlic's my favorite thing. I love, love, love this stuff. So, it has Thai chili in it, so it's pretty spicy. So I'm gonna get just a few cloves of the garlic, a little bit of chili, and put this in there. But mostly I'm gonna go for that vinegar. Put it all over the top there. That's gonna add a pretty good kick to what you've got going on here. So if you're gonna use any chili sauce or sriracha or anything like that, be careful. I thought hoisin sauce on pho was really weird until I tried it, and then I realized how good it is. Some people are dippers. I'm not a dipper. I want it inside. So I'm gonna put just a little bit in the middle. Just a little bit. Add a little sweetness. And then I'm gonna do a little dot of Chinsu in the middle. Last thing, take you a wedge of lime and just all over the top. Now I'm not gonna mix it up because it's really pretty and I wanna get a photo of it, but normally I would take a pair of chopsticks, mix it up, and just go in. All right, y'all, I'm excited. Okay, now I'm gonna have to mix it all up because I just can't help it without doing that. So we're just gonna mix all of it up. Now I'm gonna taste the broth first. You get the most savory deliciousness out of that, you guys. Like, if umami had, like, I don't know, it's so good. I don't even know how to tell you. You get a little bit of sour from the vinegar that I added, as well as the sweet from the hoisin. So that's why I didn't put sugar in the actual soup, because you don't really need it. But the tofu and the garlic, and then you get just a slight kick from the peppers in your pickled garlic as well as your chinsu. It's just delicious. So I'm gonna eat just a little bit of noodle, because I can't help it. That is so good. You get all those herbs and it adds almost a floral bit to what you're eating. You get a crunch from your bean sprouts, and it's all around so delicious. And your noodles are just chewy enough. They're not soft, they're not gooey, they're still a little chewy. It's perfection in a bowl. I hope you guys try this. Add fewer noodles. I got too excited. But other than that, it's delicious. It's epic. And if you love noodles, hey, just add some more water. So I hope you guys will give this a shot at home. If you do, make sure you take a picture and tag me over on Instagram. I want to see it. Check the description box below for that video of when we made pho when we lived in Hoi An, Vietnam. Also, the recipe will be down there with the rest of my social media. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you try it. I'll see you next time. Bye.